All right, let's talk about a piece of technology that is so fundamental to our lives, it's practically invisible. It's kind of the ghost in the machine, the secret blueprint for our entire digital age. In fact, you've probably used it a dozen times just today without ever knowing its name. We're talking about Unix.
So just think about that for a second. What could your Mac, your Android phone, and the internet itself possibly have in common? On the surface, they seem like they're from completely different worlds, right? A sleek Apple laptop, a smartphone that could be made by anyone, and the massive global network that connects us all. What's the connection?
Well, the answer is pretty wild. They all share the same digital DNA. They're all part of this huge, sprawling, and sometimes complicated family. Every single one of these things is either a direct descendant or a philosophical cousin of an operating system that was born over 50 years ago, Unix. And this isn't just some historical trivia, it's a testament to an incredibly powerful set of ideas.
To understand why this one thing has had such a massive impact, we've got to jump in the time machine. And here's the kicker. The story of Unix doesn't start with some grand plan to take over the world. Nope. Like so many great inventions, it all began as an act of rebellion against something that just wasn't working. You see, before Unix, there was this behemoth of a project called Multics. It was a joint effort from giants like MIT and Bell Labs. The goal was epic. Build one single operating system to do everything for everyone. But it became legendary for being way too complex, way too big, and way too slow. So a few brilliant but super frustrated researchers at Bell Labs decided, you know what? Let's do the exact opposite. And when I say they started small, I mean small. It's 1969, and Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie are just tinkering around on a spare, underpowered computer that nobody else wanted. By 1970, they had a name for their little project, Unix, which, was a pretty clever jab at the complexity of Multics. But the real aha moment, the absolute game changer, came in 1973. That's when they rewrote the entire system in a brand new programming language called C. And that decision was pure genius. You have to understand, back then, operating systems were basically chained to the specific computer hardware they were built for. They were stuck. By writing Unix in C, they broke those chains. They made it portable. For the first time, you could just pick up an operating system and move it to a completely different computer with very little effort. This wasn't just a neat trick, it was absolutely revolutionary. It's what allowed Unix to escape the lab and spread like wildfire. But look, that technical portability was only half the story. The real secret sauce, the thing that gives Unix its incredible staying power, comes from a set of simple, elegant design principles. It's not just a piece of code, it's a whole way of thinking about how software should be built. So remember Multics, that one giant program trying to do everything all at once? The Unix philosophy was the complete opposite. It was all about simplicity and modularity. Forget the giant Swiss Army knife that's kind of mediocre at everything. Think of Unix as a chef's kitchen, full of perfectly sharp knives where each one does one specific job and does it perfectly. It really boils down to 3 core rules. First, build small tools that are experts at a single job. Second, make them work together beautifully. The output of one program becomes the input for the next one, connected by this amazing concept called a pipe. It's like a digital assembly line. And third, use plain, simple text as the universal language, so every tool can understand every other tool. No complex formats, no secret handshakes. And this quote from 2 of the pioneers, Brian Kernighan and Rob Pike, it sums it up perfectly. The power of a system comes more from the relationships among programs than from the programs themselves. The genius wasn't in any single tool. It was about giving people a set of powerful Lego blocks they could combine in infinite ways to build almost anything they could imagine. So, as you can imagine, Unix was a smash hit, especially in universities and research labs around the world. But you know what happens with success, right? It gets complicated. That simple, elegant family tree started to branch out in messy, complicated ways, which led to a full-blown family feud. Basically, 2 main camps emerged. In one corner, you have the corporate parent, AT&T. They decided to lock it down and started selling a commercial proprietary version called System V. And in the other corner, you have the University of California, Berkeley, the academic hub. They were all about improving Unix and sharing their version, BSD, in a more open, collaborative spirit. And this, it led to total chaos. Suddenly, you had dozens of different flavors of Unix, all slightly different and all incompatible with each other. This whole messy period became known as the Unix Wars, a nasty battle for which version would become the one true standard, and it threatened to undo the very elegance of the system. But here's where the story takes a really fascinating turn. While all the big companies were fighting each other to a standstill, something else was happening in the background. The ideas of Unix won. The philosophy itself outlived all the commercial battles. A whole new generation of systems started to pop up, not as direct copies, but as spiritual successors. Just look at what runs the internet today. I'm talking about the actual servers that power Google, Amazon, Netflix, you name it. They are overwhelmingly running Linux. And what is Linux? It's the ultimate Unix-like operating system. It was built from scratch in the 90s, but its design, its very soul, is pure Unix philosophy. The spirit of Unix didn't just survive the wars, it now dominates the world. So today's family tree is huge and diverse. You've got the philosophical children, like Linux and the BSD family, that carry on that open, collaborative spirit. Then you have these certified relatives. That's right. When you're using a Mac, you are using an officially certified Unix operating system. And yeah, some of those original commercial branches are still kicking around, powering massive enterprise systems. Okay, so this is a super important distinction you might see out there. What's the deal with Unix, in all caps with the little trademark symbol, versus just Unix-like? Well, think of it this way. Unix is a brand name. It's an official certification that a company like Apple pays for to prove its system meets a specific standard. But Unix-like? That describes the much, much bigger family, systems like Linux, that follow the original philosophy. They have the soul of Unix, even if they don't have the official paperwork. So when you boil it all down, it's pretty incredible. A simple philosophy, born from sheer frustration with complexity, ended up becoming the blueprint for our entire digital world. The idea that lots of small tools working together are way more powerful than any single giant system. It really makes you wonder, right? As we face the insane complexity of AI and quantum computing, what simple idea from today is going to be the invisible force that ends up shaping the next 50 years?